There's bits of
I
information
told this
out
man
there.
to say a short hello after I said his name.
I don't know. I'm getting
a whole synopsis.
yeah.
This is supposed to be the intro.
No, yeah.
He's trying to take over the podcast.
I got nervous when I started talking.
What's up, y'all? Sam Price here with the second episode of the Lucky Prophet Comedy Pod. We got our first guest ever here today. My comedy cohort, my best friend, my roommate, my boy Edrick Jorge is here with us.
What's up, y'all? EJ here. I'm glad to be doing this podcast.
Yep, that's all you get.
Yeah.
Stop. As traveling
and the government.
As traveling comics, we get a ton of questions about people about how to get started in stand-up comedy, and today we're going to break it all down for you. Welcome to the Lucky Prophet Comedy Pod.
Today I got time,
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created.
Today's episode is about getting started in stand-up comedy. A lot of people are always inboxing me, asking me questions. I wanted to make a point of reference for everybody, for like anybody who has this question for me anymore. Like, how do you get started? Like, what makes you go up on that stage? Things like that. Everybody that comes up to me asking about this, they're always like, you know, man, I'm the funny person in my family. I'm the funniest guy at work. Everybody tells me I should try comedy. How do I get into it? Today, we're going to break it down, man. We're going to tell you our stories. We're going to tell you how we got into it. And then we're just going to go over some things that you want to think about and some tips that we would give to people starting out in stand-up. My guest here today is my boy, Edrick Jorge. We're going to dive into his story real quick. You can talk now, man.
They didn't want to jump in. You're explaining the point. So appreciate you. First of all, I'm here to talk about how I started doing comedy. I've been doing it for 2.5, almost 3 years. I think it'll be 3 years in October, which means I'm a COVID comic. I started.
Oh yeah, October
I started.
2020.
Yeah, October 2020. That was. Everybody knows it was a weird year. Yeah, it was a very weird year, and in a moment where I thought I could die, I thought I might as well try comedy. Like, it's something I've never done before, something I've always wanted to do. I think I did stand-up comedy in third grade at a talent show. Did not win the talent show. I lost to breakdancing.
What made you? Did you do an original act?
An original? You could call that original. I remember flipping my pants inside out because I thought that would be. Yeah, it was kind of hacky, but you know.
Well, I mean, I've seen you do that bit now.
Yeah, it's a it's a great bit, great opener, and then when I take it off and flip it back, that's the closure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But no, I did it in third grade because like I knew what stand up was at an early age, which means.
But wasn't it an original act? Did you write jokes for it?
No, honestly, I just kind of emulated what comedy was. Like, I just said goofy things in a goofy way, and I just kind of
hold on, because this is your first mic. This talent show is technically your first mic.
Yeah.
Did you prepare? How long did you know you were gonna be doing? How long ahead of time did you know that you were gonna be doing the talent show?
Let's see, third grade. This was in Huntington, Arkansas. Well, I knew there was a talent show, right? The prize was like a little free pizza thing at Pizza Hut.
Hey.
The kids' favorite pizza place. Shout out Pizza Hut.
Hey.
Me.
I'm gonna bleep that because they don't sponsor this.
They don't. So
I'm gonna email it to them.
The bleep hut. Yeah, but the bleep hut sounds so much worse. Like, are you gonna just bleep
Shut
the
up.
bleep?
Don't go there, kids. Don't go there, kids.
Don't go to the.
It's dangerous. Unless they sponsor us, then go every day.
But it was me and a few friends, and like, hey, we got some stuff we want to do, and my friends always told me I was a funny dude.
Wait, was it a group act or were y'all?
It was all separate. Yeah, everybody had their own thing.
What acts did your friends do? Just real quick.
I think it was mostly like a brother and sister, and the brother broke broke danced. He was breakdancing at the time.
He broke danced. What is it?
But his sister sang, and he won because it was like the most interesting one. But like, I got a lot of the kids laughing.
He won for breakdancing?
So,
I figured somebody was
So
dancing.
there's 2 shows, right? I had 2 shows. My first mic was 2 shows, actually. It was during the day where you got to perform for all the other kids who didn't have talents, you know, the plebs. Like they were just the audience, like because they
normies.
wanted to be part of the show too. And then there was another one at night where the parents and the judges were there. And I will tell you that the pants being flipped inside out is not as funny to the parents and the judges.
So you got third? Is that what you said? Was there rankings?
I don't think I placed.
Was there 1, 2, 3 though?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just
one
one winner.
You won this $5 off pizza coupon.
That was his third year winning in a row.
He
like
won 3 years in a row
yeah,
by broke dancing.
he wasn't broke. He had pizza. He was stacking those up.
This man broke danced.
Um,
That's where he got the cardboard. He used the cardboard from last year's pizza.
There's just cheese all over his pants. The grease helps me spit.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Hold
on. I had another question about this third grade talent show.
Yeah.
I'm still curious about your act. Like, how did you curate your act?
I'm not gonna act it out. It's not.
No, I don't.
That's
need
not
to
gonna
act it out.
happen.
I just
right
need
now.
to know what your process was.
It was
going
mostly
into it.
riffing. It was mostly just like commenting.
Yeah, okay.
I did some character work.
You sound like every
I think,
person who tells me that they want to do open mic
Yeah.
is like, I just want to go up there and talk to the crowd. I think if I just talk to the crowd, I'll be the funniest person ever. Don't go up and talk to the crowd. Crowd work takes years to master. You're not going to be as funny as you think you are. You're going to be funny because you're nervous and you're giggling and all you hear is yourself laughing. Everybody else in the room is uncomfortable. Get off the stage talking to the crowd. Write some jokes. Anyway.
I feel like you're attacking me right now because that's exactly
not
what
you,
I did.
the third grade you.
That's me.
He's a dummy. He shouldn't have been up there.
He
That's why he got 7th out of 6.
He cried. Like he was eating the pizza. Like his friend shared the pizza, but I cried eating that.
Oh,
That
his
was
friend
loser.
shared the pizza.
It was loser pizza. It was pity pizza. Shout out, Boo.
Don't call him Boo on the podcast though.
Anyway, so I've always wanted to do comedy, and
yeah, that's interesting to me. Like you doing comedy in 3rd grade though. I couldn't imagine.
yeah, I
doing stand up at 8.
I don't know how I was exposed to it, but I knew what stand-up comedy was at a young age, which means I knew a lot of bad words at a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't. Who
What was
did
the
I
first
watch?
stand-up special you remember watching?
I'm trying to think. It had to be. I think it was the Blue Collar Comedy Guys.
Oh,
Ron
yeah.
White, Larry Cable Guy.
That was early for me, but that wasn't the first one I seen.
It was like those. It was like those. That was stand-up comedy that my dad was okay with me watching because it wasn't too filthy or dirty, and they got all of the innuendos, and I just like the silly voices.
Here's your sign.
And I was like, "Hi,
You're done."
he said that a little bit ago."
Yeah. I used to love Blue Collar Comedy, man. Bill Engvall was my dude, and Blue Collar Comedy was my favorite one. Here's Your Sign was my favorite series of jokes.
But then I got
Here's Your Sign.
that led up to me watching Ron White before I should have, and
yeah, you watched Ron White by himself. Ron White was the Bernie Mac of the Blue Collar Comedy tour. Because my first one was Kings of Comedy, and like that's the same. It's weird how that lines up, because Ron White was like the dirty, filthy guy that would murder a room because he was saying all the things he wasn't supposed to be saying.
Yeah.
And Bernie Mac was the same way. Like he was saying stuff that nobody else was saying, and they were like, "Oh my god, like this dude is saying this on stage? What's going on?" But it was crazy. It was hilarious.
I like that comparison. That's cool.
Yeah.
But oh, by the way, I just want to take this moment to like, Ron White had like the coldest deliveries because like, before he delivered the punchline, he'd be raising his whiskey glass to his lips, say the punchline, and then slowly take a sip. Like,
yeah, it don't matter to me if you laugh or not. I'm gonna take a drink on that one.
but yeah, I never
I like
really
that attitude.
thought about it for a while until 2020.
What's up, y'all? Sam Price here, bringing you a brand new podcast. With the rise in popularity of stand-up, people are constantly asking me questions, wanting to take a peek behind the curtain and find out how all of it works. That's why I decided to create the Lucky Profit Comedy Pod. On this podcast, we're going to go behind the scenes to answer every question, we'll tackle some controversial topics, and we'll even delve into the latest trends in comedy with hilarious guests from across the country. From examining comedic persona to checking out the latest jokes and styles making waves on social media, Each week, we're going to take an in-depth look at the current state of comedy. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes on YouTube and wherever you stream your favorite podcast. Let's get right back to the episode.
Yeah, so in a year where I thought I could die at any moment,
Did you really think? I wanted to explore that too. Did you really think during COVID you could die at any moment? Did you feel that way?
Let's see. I suppose it was 50-50. There was so much information and misinformation getting spread. I was still out in public. I was still working, and I knew
Where'd
the
you work
risk.
at during COVID?
I was at we didn't do like dining, but I was still around other people.
Yeah.
All the time. We had masks, we had gloves, and we were worried all the time. And then it was interesting. There was a lot of worry from management, but they still had to keep it going because that's their business. They were cool though. Like we had to close down for a month, and there was like a lot of ingredients that weren't being used. So they did a shout out to all the workers, like, hey, we're not letting this go to waste. If you need food, come by and get some food. They cared as much as they could.
I find that interesting. I find this interesting because I took COVID serious, and I still do. But I don't think there was ever a point where I was like worried that I was gonna die. There was never a point where I was like, oh, this is gonna get me. I was like,
I knew my odds were good. Like I knew the demographics in which it usually got to people. Like some of my health like made me worry about it because I had outer respiratory issues as a child. I was obese as a child. Kind of think of it. If it was me from like 5 years ago in 2020, I would have been gone like in an instant. But I think I was like taking care of my health a little more at that time, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah.
But I still like it was crazy. The numbers kept rising. I knew people who died, and
yeah, me too. I don't know. It's just I never had the thought of like COVID's gonna get me. Like I maybe it was because of my circumstances. Like I was still working during COVID.
Ooh, I was
still working full time.
I don't think it was COVID necessarily. I just thought that the world was gonna go crazy and it was gonna end somehow. Like people were gonna use this as an excuse to go all nuclear or something like that. Like anything can happen at this point, so why not do the thing that I always wanted to do?
Gotcha.
So that's a better way to phrase it.
It's interesting that you were in that mindset to me.
Yeah. It was because like none of that year I expected, it was such a strange year to me.
Yeah, it was. It's been strange since then.
Yeah.
The reason I'm on this is because I hear that testimony a lot from people. Like a lot of people are like, COVID changed my world. Like COVID made everything different. And for me, whenever COVID hit, I was still working full time. We just had to wear masks. We had to start social distancing. Everybody just followed the rules, whenever we were around. And like groceries were hard to come by for a second at the beginning just because everybody kind of bombarded the grocery stores or whatever. But outside of that and Walmart being closed overnight, my life didn't change too much from COVID. Like I never, and there was never a consideration of like, oh man, this is gonna end the world here. I was like, nah, man, we'll be all right. We've been through worse as a country, as a world. This is surely shocking. I think another thing that like, I don't want to say COVID was exaggerated, but I think that COVID was magnified by the fact that we have social media nowadays. And it's just a lot of people saying a lot of stuff. And even before 2020, I had kind of, there are certain things I'd kind of categorized as just like, this is a big topic, so people are going to talk about it. So I shouldn't be worried that there's a lot of conversation happening. So COVID just kind of fell into that category for me because I was like, my odds health wise of dying from COVID are like less than 1%. And I still got to go to work every day. I still got to pay these bills. We're rocking. Like nothing's different. We're rocking. And then they start giving out stimulus checks. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this is going to be great.
I wasn't like frantic. I wasn't one of those like preppers. But I think another factor in that time was I had a solitary moment. like space to breathe. I didn't have to worry about so many people, and kind of kept my head down and worked and just went home for the most part. And I had a moment to kind of reflect and kind of analyze my life and things I wanted to do and what I was doing right now, and comedy came up. And I think I thought about trying it a few years ago, but I just got busy with work and caught up with life that I didn't really think about it again. And then in this moment, I was like, let's do some research. Let's see, I'm not in the cities where there's like a comedy club or anything like that, but there, I knew what open mics were. So I looked up open mics in my area. That's how I found Old Town. That's how I found Bakery District.
Shout out Old Town.
Shout out Bakery District. And it was, and my first open mic ever was in October 2020. I can't remember the day, but I remember the open mic. I think it was on a Wednesday. That's when the open mics were. And it was a mixed media open mic, so anybody can go up and do whatever they wanted to do.
Old Town? Yeah, it was a Wednesday.
And I think it was mostly people with guitars and stuff singing, and it was great. I loved hearing them sing. And then I signed up on the list. I went up, and it was late at night, and there was like 5-6 people in the bar. Half of them were staff, and I did have I knew what I wanted to do. I had a notebook and I was writing, and the jokes the set that I did that night was I had a list of things you could call your butthole besides butthole. And it was organized. I had it related by topics. It was like food related, animal related, miscellaneous. And I got some laughs, and I thought it was fun, and I wanted to do it more. So I just did more research of where I could do it, wrote more, and it was more out of a sense of curiosity to see if I could get more people to laugh. Like I've always made people laugh in conversation. Can I make them laugh on stage?
That brings up a good point of like, whenever people tell me that they want to do comedy, one of the first things that comes into my head is why. Like, why do you want to do comedy? You say it was just yours was just pure curiosity to see if you could do it. That's interesting. I think that's a common one. I think a lot of people are curious to see how they would be on the stage. What's interesting, I do think I can sympathize with, or I don't know, I can understand the idea of like, why not? Like, let me just try it. I want to see if I can do it. I think that's a bit of how I got into it too. Well, let me go up. Let me see if I can be funny in front of all these people. Let me just see. I started at Old Town too, but I started in February 2019. As with a bunch of stuff I was doing around that time, end of 2018, I had split up from a long relationship, and so I had just been like end of 2018, beginning of 2019, really all the way through 2019. I was like, I want to try to do some things that I feel like I've had a knack for. I did some music, I did poetry, and comedy was something that came up. And me and Marcus we had seen some of the local guys from River Valley Comics, pre-River Valley Comics, before me and Chase got a hold of it. We had seen some of them around, and we had been to a couple shows and some open mics. And then just a day in February, we were like, hey, next week, let's go up and do it. Next week, let's go try it. So the next week, we both went up and we did some bits, and it went pretty well. It went well enough that the actual local comedians in town heard about it, and they came and told us, hey, we heard you did pretty well. But it was the same thing. It was at Old Town on a Wednesday. It was probably 6 people in the bar. Probably 3 of them were listening. But one of them was the bartender, and she told them that we did pretty well. So then we started going to Harry's whenever they were doing Harry's downtown, which was 2 doors down from Old Town, which was a fire open mic, and rest in peace to Harry's. But after that one is when the local guys started booking me on shows, and I started to like kind of figure it all out, because I didn't do any research. I wrote jokes before I went up. I wrote things down. I'm real meticulous. I'm real meticulous about like word usage. So I would always like write things down specifically how I wanted to say it. I still do that. Oftentimes I like write it specifically how I want to say it. But early I would like do that and then just go up and read it. But I did pretty well that first time, and it was a bit of the same thing. I'm just like, I was curious to see if I could do it. I was in a space where it was like, hey man, I don't have nothing to lose. Like, if people don't think I'm funny, they don't think I'm funny. Whatever. But I went up there and you got into it. You do it a couple times, you start to like it. You start to get a feel for it. Another point that I wanted to bring up in this one is, let's see. All right, things to consider. Things to consider if you're wanting to get into stand-up. Consider your intentions. Like we were saying, if you're just curious to do it, if you want to, if you have some jokes that you do pretty often and you want to try them out on stage and see how it goes. If everybody tells you you're funny, you should get up on stage, because I hear that from everybody. If everybody's telling you that and you're just curious to see if you can make it work, try it out. I tell everybody to try it at least twice. If you don't love it by the second time you do it, you don't have to do it anymore. Nobody's making you get up on the stage. You don't have to do it anymore. But if you've always been curious about it, if it's something you want to try, go do it. Tips that we would give before you get on the stage: do a little bit of research. Research your local scene.
That is crucial.
What research did you do? I didn't do any research. I think I kind of ran into River Valley Comics just through Old Town. And then from there, I started following them. And from getting into the scene, I learned to do research. Like, I didn't look anything up before I started doing comedy. But you said you did some type of research before you went to the mics. What did that involve for you?
The research I did, a lot of Googling first. I didn't really know what to look up. So I remember some phrases that Google will get you everywhere if you know what to Google. But first I started looking up like comedy in Arkansas, comedy in my area. And then I found, the concept of open mics, and, these are places where, if the venue is so gracious enough to provide these insane drunk people with a microphone, they could express their talents and their thoughts. So I tried to find one of these, alcoholic asylums, and one of the tools I utilized was Facebook. A lot of people still use Facebook and social media, and so I looked up open mics Fort Smith, and there were event pages, flyers, and giving you all the information you need if you just read them. Not to be, okay, that was very passive aggressive. It's just we run into issues where people are wondering where they could go to shows, and it's like they're not, they're not looking at the flyer. I'm gonna put this out there. Actually, speaking of being passive aggressive, I'm gonna start fighting people that ask me questions in the comments that are answered in the flyer that you're looking at. Like, if you're on a flyer that has all of the information about the show, and then you comment, what time is it? I'm gonna start finding your address and coming to you and beating you with a baseball bat, because there's no reason at all that you should be looking at this flyer, and on the picture is the post that you're commenting on, and it clearly says that the show starts at 7:00. Do not ask me what time the show is at. Don't. Just comment, looks great, I'll be there. Comment that. I just imagine you with a bat with the time of the show carved into it.
Yeah.
7:30.
What time's the show? Anyway.
What? You can't make it? Why? Oh,
you're in the hospital? Sorry about that, bro. It was on the flyer.
Make it to the next one, though, huh? I'll save you a seat.
And mind if I put this in my jokes?
And it's just once I knew the time, it was scheduling and making sure that I was good to go there. And I didn't even go as like the first week that I knew that they were open mics. Like, didn't really have anything written down. I had some funny thoughts and ideas, but like I knew they weren't really quite jokes. So I don't know. I just kind of thought about it for a minute, and then I kind of Googled my jokes. I Googled like what to call your butthole besides butthole, but I picked out my favorite ones, organized them, had like a little riff for each one, like what I imagined that would look like if it was literal,
Which
I have a
brings me
top
to my
three.
next point. Don't steal material, okay? If you go into your first open mic, write your own jokes.
No, you could
buddy.
Google material.
Don't go
It's
up-
like Googling a news article only for buttholes.
Don't go up and do some stuff that you heard on Saturday Night Live.
No, don't do that.
Don't go up and do some stuff that you heard Joe Rogan say on his podcast. Write your own material.
I do want
That is
to.
the cardinal sin in stand-up comedy. You do not take other people's jokes.
I wanted to bring up a point of like you had a great list of reasons why you should go do comedy and like make people laugh, do it out of curiosity, to express some stuff. But there should be a list of things that you shouldn't go do the open mic for. Like it's bigger than you think. Honestly, I think like one, don't do it to lecture people. Don't do it to spout off your political ideals. Like, is there a joke? Like that's the most important part is there a joke? Like you may think it's funny, but like if you're just saying a statement like, huh? Like isn't it crazy they do this? It was like, why is it crazy?
Yeah. Part of what I think catches comedy early is that like they try to put the cart in front of the horse. They hear professional comedians giving their opinion and putting their opinion into their comedic persona, and they're able to relay that in a joking manner, and they think, oh, I can do the same thing. I can do exactly that. When I say my stuff around my buddies, they laugh, and it's just like that. It's conversational. So I can take that on the stage. I think that confuses a lot of people. You're not good enough yet to be doing that. You're not good enough to, unless you have a funny way to interject your opinion into a joke. Your main mission when you go on stage is to tell jokes, especially early. Don't worry about your comedic persona. Don't worry about interjecting an opinion into what you're saying unless you have a funny way to do it. If you have a funny way to give your opinion to an audience to present it, then go ahead and try it out. But if you just want to go up there and say, aren't trans people weird? And then that's it. That's not a joke, dude. Like, don't get on stage for that. You're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah. Why are they weird? Like,
Yeah,
tell us.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Why are they weird to you? Like, we know, but why? Okay.
Those are his thoughts.
But, like, make
don't
sure
know
there's a joke. Whatever your thoughts are,
Yeah.
you got to make people laugh with it. Don't just go up there,
I've
say the
heard,
thought,
like,
and expect that to
famous
be funny.
comedians say that the point of comedy is not to be funny. Don't listen, bro. The point of comedy for you when you're starting out at an open mic, you need to figure out how to be funny first, because that's the first rule. Be funny. Funny is in the definition of comedy.
Gotta make the ha-ha.
Be funny. You have to be funny. You got to make people laugh. You can make people think if you're good at it, if you can find a way to do it. But if not, make people laugh until you can make them think. Your goal is to make them laugh, though. That's number one. Go up there with jokes. Don't go up there and berate people, no matter what it is you're talking about. If you're either side of whatever argument you're on, don't go up there giving a lecture or debating the audience. That's not what you're there for. You're there to be funny. You're there for comedy. So go up there and be funny, man.
Number two, if you've stumbled into an open mic and you just see a like the comedy going on and you just think, oh, I could do that too, please do not. Like, do not think that just because you see these people doing it that you can, like, yes, it's an open mic, anybody can sign up, of course, free speech, whatever, but you're not prepared, you're probably drunk, and it's just not going to be, that's not fair. I have seen
Yeah,
that there was a guy at Baker District.
I've seen people do this a few times where I have differing opinions on this. I have a differing opinion on this. If I consider
I'm about to
preparation
contrast it, yeah.
Of like, when I say write your jokes, I mean, have something prepared. If you have like a bit memorized that you do with your friends at work, and you're like, oh, that's a funny thing I could say. Or if you have a funny story that you pull up at every party and you're like, oh, I could tell that story. And you put those things together, that's preparation. You're preparing.
That's fair. If you have,
and I think that you can do that on the spot. Like I think when you're at the open mic, if it's something you've been debating and you're at a place and they're doing one, I think on the spot you can be, okay, well, let me think about what I will say that's funny. That's what I mean by preparing. Just mentally prepare yourself before you walk onto the stage. Don't just go onto the stage and be like, well, what do you guys want to talk about? No, man.
Don't do it to impress
corny.
a date, because one, they're not going to be impressed. That's just
I got different opinions on that too, man. I got no. If you're good, it works.
Please.
If you're not, that's gross. It's cringy either way. But if you're good,
Please don't tell me that's how you got them on a date. It's
no. But I've had
no, not that.
I've had girls with me at open mics before, and it worked for them. It was
Fair enough.
early on.
Go to open mics and you will get.
I'm not guaranteeing you that. That cannot be guaranteed by me,
50-50.
man.
Okay.
You might if you're good. I don't know.
Ooh, okay, so this is the biggest one I could think
Well,
of.
hold on, because I'm still on your last one. So yeah, just be prepared. The other thing that I can't tell them not to think, hey, I can do it because they can do it. Because literally the only thing that used to convince me to get on stage was I have to see somebody that I'm funnier than before I can go onto the stage. I had to. Like if there was, when I was doing mics early, if everybody was funny, I would not sign up. There had to be somebody that was not funny for me to sign up, just because my self-esteem wasn't at the point where like, oh yeah, I'm a rock it either way. It was like, nah, man, somebody has to not do well before I put my name on that list. And then once somebody bombed, I was like, all right, here we go. Luckily for me, it was usually the host, so
yeah,
I had to sign up pretty early.
Already pretty easy once it goes. The host, honestly, the host job is to bomb, make everybody feel comfortable. So
you gotta warm them up, buddy. You gotta warm them up.
What was I gonna say?
But yeah, so I do think you should mentally prepare yourself before you walk onto the stage. But I don't think that has to happen before you get to the room. And I have to say that because I'm a person that like writes his sets at the open mic. Like I write my set when we get in there because I want to see how the room is feeling. Yeah. But I do think you should prepare yourself before you go on stage. I don't think anybody should go up there willy-nilly, especially for your first time. Your first few times, think about what you're gonna say. Have something that you want to deliver,
and be close. Don't just bring your willy-nilly. I'm gonna try that at the open mic tonight.
It's not gonna work.
I think the biggest thing though I could say about it is have a goal, which is to make people laugh, and not have any expectations. Don't go up there thinking that this is gonna all of a sudden change your life, that you're gonna get a big Netflix deal. That's not how this works. This has never been how that works. It's a lot of work to do comedy. Not to try it out, it's to enjoy it. But if you have a legit passion for it, then there will be work further down the road.
Yeah.
So just remember that, don't think anyone's gonna notice you and all of a sudden, you got a deal, because no one's asking for it yet. No one knows you like that yet.
Please don't. Yeah, exactly that. Please don't get on stage thinking you're about to go blow up the world and have a Netflix special in 6 months and you're gonna go viral because you were so hilarious and you're the next big thing.
I hope that happens for you. I legit do. Please, know that. But
it won't.
It's not going to. It's just not.
It's not at all. It's not at all. And you need to get that out your head. Don't have the expectation that I'm gonna go up here and as soon as I get up there, everybody's gonna know I should be a comedian. And I'm going to start selling out shows. People are going to start showing up to my stuff. Nah, man. Do not do that.
It's a wave, man.
You have to release those expectations early. Go into it. Just have fun. Have fun. Go up there, tell some jokes. You're funny. You're probably... Other people have probably told you you're funny if you're thinking of doing stand-up comedy. Yeah. And they're not wrong. In the moment that you have with those people... You're capturing something in your sense of humor that they can relate to. Take that on the stage. Whatever it is that's charming about you, take that on the stage and then just deliver it to everybody. Go up there, be funny. Don't worry about delivering an agenda. Don't worry about becoming the next huge comedian and starting a podcast. Don't start planning a podcast before you get on the stage. Like, no, man. Get up there, have a few funny stories you want to tell,
Figure
try
it
it
out.
out. And be honest with yourself, you know?
And just have fun, sweetie. Just go out there and just have a good time, okay?
Have
Take
fun,
pictures.
but no,
Take pictures.
Yeah.
Really
fun.
have fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun thing.
Yeah.
Just don't let it stress you
If
out.
you want to get into it early, have fun.
This
But these people that like,
there's
I want to give just another layer of advice here, because I think some of the people that reach out to me and they ask like, how do they get started in comedy? Their expectation is that like this is gonna become their new career. You have to get on the stage before you start planning your comedy career. You have to get on that stage first. So before you're even thinking about the future, focus on the one mic you're gonna do. Do some research, find out where the mics are in your area, plan a time to go, prepare some jokes, whether you write them down or you get there and you think of some funny stories that you have, and then go on stage and try it. Try it before you start planning your career. Try it before you try to infuse your agenda into it. Try it before you try to have an opinion as an artist. Try to be funny first. Go up there, try to be funny. Try to bring your the charming part of yourself to the people in the audience, and see what happens. See if you like it.
What's up, people? It's your host, Sam Price. And if you're looking for the best way to support our stand-up journey here at the Lucky Prophet Comedy Pod, you should consider subscribing to our Patreon. This helps to fund our productions directly with no middleman, and it comes with some awesome benefits. Patrons get immediate access to early ad-free content, bonus episodes, credit shoutouts, and even more. Go to patreon.com/LuckyProfitEntertainment to sign up now. Don't forget to follow us on all your social medias and subscribe to our YouTube for new episodes weekly. Thanks for watching.
So the thing about the expectations thing, it reminds me of the story. It was an early mic somewhere in Tulsa, and it was a rough mic. I forgot what the venue was, but it was rough because there was a heckler in the crowd. Drunk lady just kept screaming during everybody's sets and, you know, talking to the comics, and it was rough, and nobody could really get by her.
In Tulsa, was I there?
No, I think I was on my own that night. It
Was
was
it
really
Reds?
early on. No, it wasn't Reds. I forgot the venue. Hand to God.
Bar 473?
No. Was it Starlight? No. It was... What was the venue?
First Shot?
No, it was none of the venues that we've been to. I don't know if they still do open mics, but I remember trying it out. And I remember... Were you there? No. Anyway,
Go ahead.
I think Conrad might have been there. But anyway, there was
sounds
a
familiar,
dude up there trying to do comedy, and he was slowly getting more and more frustrated. But he was trying to keep on like that you know, to keep a smile, like, all right, lady, good enough. I'm trying to do my jokes. They're trying to hold it back, and then finally he just cracked. He was like, "Miss, I need you to stop. Can't you see I'm trying to be famous up here?" And like, I was and automatically that shut off the whole crowd. And in my head, I was like, bro, no. First of all, that's not... You think this is going to help you with that? Like, no, this just helps the skill. Like, whatever you want to do with it is on you. But that's... It's just interesting that he would... Like, that's going to help her shut up. Like, miss... Like, there's an agent in the back room. Like, I'm that agent. like, she was the agent.
Well, my question would be, do you think he was serious, or do you think that was a joke he was trying to use to get out of that situation?
The way he said it seemed more sincere than the comedy that he was doing. Like, the tone was very, it had a, like, he was angry, but there was a hint of like pleading with her, you know, like it was...
I feel like that's like sincere. A nervous comic thing to like try to say something goofy. Like, I mean,
I don't remember the dude's name.
I
haven't seen him.
I don't know. Just from the situation that you're explaining to me, it doesn't seem like he was like legitimately thinking that this moment at this open mic was going to get him famous. It was just like, a goofy thing to say of like, hey, can't you see I'm trying to get people to pay attention to me? Like, why would you be talking? It feels like
that way, yeah.
a goofy comic thing more than him legitimately trying to plead for his fame. Which it could have been. I don't know. I wasn't there, but
that's fair.
Just from the sound of it, that's what it would seem more like to me, of like a nervous open micer being like, "Come on, man! Like, yeah, I'm just trying to do a thing."
That's fair. I could think about it that way as well. But it mostly made me process like what I wanted to do with it, and fame sounds chill, and I know it kind of helps with the business.
Get good before you worry about being.
But that's
famous.
the main goal. That's just
Not
being
you
famous.
Anybody get good before you worry about being famous. Get funny first. First funny, and then later on down the line, we'll worry about whether or not fame's
the fame is a byproduct. You know, it's not what.
If you get funny enough, fame will find you.
Yeah.
But don't even worry about famous. Don't worry about famous.
Just worry about
don't worry about notoriety. Be funny. Get funny. Worry about being funnier. That's the first thing you should focus on. Don't start spending your first Netflix check before you've gone up for an open mic. Terrible idea.
Not to say to not be confident, being like, "Oh, I'll never make it."
No, you probably won't. Honestly, you probably won't.
Statistically,
most everybody watching this will not. There's nothing saying that we will either. Most people don't make it. Most people are not going to. It's a 1 in a million thing. What are you doing that sets you apart? That's what you have to think about later, though. Right now, be funny.
Yeah.
Be funny first. Go to mics. Write some jokes.
Yeah.
Be funny.
Yeah.
Another little piece of advice that I want to give before we get off of this is like, don't take bombing personally. You're not good yet. You're gonna bomb. Everybody bombs. Your favorite comedian ever has bombed 1,000 times. The best comedians you can think of still bomb to this day. It's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen to you the first time, it might happen to you the second time. A lot of people do really well the first time and then they bomb the second time because they're overconfident. But it's gonna happen to you. It's gonna happen to you. I didn't think it was gonna happen to me early on, and I was like, oh, there it is. Yep, nobody's laughing. You're not good yet.
Yeah.
You're early. You're not good yet. You're just now figuring out how to write jokes. You're just now figuring out what makes things funny to people.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. On that note, don't be afraid of silence early. When you're first starting out and you're first getting into mics, don't be afraid of silence. Don't feel like you have to fill every little bit of air. Give things some room to breathe. Let the audience give you an honest assessment of your material. Once you deliver your jokes, give them a second to laugh. Don't just try to run into the next thing because you don't know if they're going to laugh or not. Take your time. Don't be afraid of the room being quiet. Don't be afraid to pause. I was telling EJ before this, there was a point in my career where I was convincing myself not to be afraid of silence. So after I delivered jokes, once the laughs stopped, once I stopped hearing laughs in the room, I would count to 5 in my head just to get myself comfortable sitting in that silence. I think that also for the crowd kind of raises that tension a little bit. Because if you just said something good, they're wanting to hear what you're going to say next. They want to hear the next thing. So they're like, all right, what's that? What? What is it? And just don't be afraid to sit in the moment. Don't be afraid of the silence. Don't be afraid to, even if your joke bombs, sit in that silence for a second. You know, give it a second to reassess. That's it. Just take it easy. Take it easy.
This is another thing to add on to more the research aspect of it is, arrive to the venue early. You want to kind of be more associated with the place. You don't want to, you especially don't want to be late and walk in on the middle of someone's set. Especially if sometimes the mic or the microphone is right next to the entrance, and that could be rough sometimes. You can't really control that. But anyway, you know, I like to, if possible, get to the venue early just to kind of be associated with the space. You know, especially if you've never been there before, then that kind of gets rid, you know, it helps get rid of the nerves, you know, get a drink in. Just be comfortable where you're at doing the comedy, because a lot of the times you're going to be nervous, and the people that are in the audience. You don't know them, you don't know the area, so you might as well get there early to be more acquainted.
Great tips for early mics when you're becoming an open micer, when you're going to your first, second, third, up to like 20th open mic before you start getting booked on shows. When you're first starting out, it's a great tip. Arrive early. Tip well, whatever level of comedy you're in. Mad respect for venues that allow us to do that, because they don't have to allow us to do comedy in their places. Just super mad respect to the venues that like promote the comedy shows and actually help the comedians and the producers put on the shows. Let's keep those guys going. Don't just show up to the mic and order a water and sit through the night. If you can afford it, buy something, tip well, give back to the venue, because that's going to make it to where the venue is going to know that people appreciate that. The venue is going to know that people appreciate that comedy happening in that room. They're like, oh, okay, people are coming here and they're buying drinks and they're paying for this to happen. Yeah, let's have these guys out here more often. Let's do some more comedy related things. That's just going to help comedy in your area. The venues will have more respect for the form of entertainment when they see that like comedians are coming in and the comedians are leaving pretty big tips for the staff, and comedians respectful to the staff. All of those things, especially once you get further in down the road. This is a good tip. This is a good thing to learn early, because once you start to get into club work, that's something that makes a really big impression on club managers. Is like, are you tipping? Are you taking care of the staff? Are you even helping after the show? Like once you start getting the hosting, help clean up after the show. When the show's over, hang out, clean up, hang out with the headliner for a bit. Which takes me to my next tip, which was going to be hang out with everybody, especially when you're early in open mics and you're just getting acquainted to the scene that you're in. Hang out with the comedians. Just talk to them. Pick their brains. Comedians are very, very, very arrogant people. We're the most anxious and the most arrogant people all in the same bodies. Like, it's a very weird dichotomy that happens in comedians' head.
I'm more shy than you are, I bet.
But comedians will always be, most comedians, let me put it this way, most comedians will always be open to talking about themselves. So, just pick and prod, ask people questions, get to know the folks around you. If you like somebody's comedy style, go tell them that you liked it. If you didn't, keep it to yourself for a minute, because you're going to hurt their feelings. Not that you should be afraid of hurting people's feelings, but that's not something that you should be seeking out doing early in your comedy career. You're not trying to get on anybody's bad side early. It's just not a good idea.
As weird as it is, everyone appreciates a compliment. No one likes criticism, especially unsolicited.
Yeah,
so,
I'm a big like, don't come up to me unsolicited. Like, if I didn't ask you to come talk to me, don't come talk to me.
Back to the common courtesy thing. If you are interested in still doing open mics to the point where you want to go a little out of your range and go to like other towns and do open mics just to switch up the scene. If you're going to be late, try to contact the host, message them on Facebook, send them, a quick text, let them know that you may be late. That way, even though you're not there, hopefully the drive, you have time to prepare for your set. And though you may not be used to the venue, at least on, production wise on the host, they at least know you're there and they're not trying to squeeze you in on the list, or you're not put in a bad spot where you're completely not ready for it,
Yeah, that's a great tip. I think I'm gonna do a full episode on like traveling, traveling while doing comedy, and some of the things you should think about when you travel to do comedy. But when you're early, unless there is nothing near you, when you're getting into it, when you go into your first few open mics, try to go to whatever is closest to you. Try to go to whatever is in your area and get comfortable there before you branch out and start doing other things.
Just saves gas money, honestly. Yeah. It's just it adds up.
And it's just, it's best to you're at home. You don't have to travel anywhere. Excuse me. The people around you are most likely going to be the ones that relate the most to your sense of humor, because that's the environment that you're in. They're going to find the things funny that you find funny most of the time. So, get acquainted with those folks and learn how to be funny around the people in your area. And then once you start getting into it, travel a bit. Branch out and find out what's around you. Find out what's happening in some bigger cities after you start getting into it, though.
Mm-hmm.
But early, don't spend too much money. Like, don't be like, oh, I got to do my first open mic in Austin. Like, nah, man. No, you don't. There's an open mic down the street from you at Lucky Lucy's that you can do next Tuesday. Go check that out.
Uh-huh.
See what's happening over there.
Shout out Lucky Lucy's if that's
Is
something
there a
out
place
there.
called Lucky Lucy's?
Hey, if you're a place called Lucky Lucy's, hit us up. We'll do a show.
I'm bleeping that out. Till Lucky Lucy sponsors us. Lucky Lucy's.
It's a brothel in like Nevada.
Yeah.
Also, if all of this is still not within your wheelhouse, if you're still nervous about even going in front of people because you still trying to even organize your thoughts to see if it's comedic, part of the planning process is write it down, record it, find a medium that works best for you. I like to use this notebook right here. This is personal for me. I like writing things down with a pen. Mm-hmm. Some people, if that's not accessible, I'll still use notes in my phone. Mm-hmm. Google Docs if you have a laptop, if that's the best way. We have a friend who uses an old a voice recorder.
Yeah, tape recorder.
Whatever you need to do to absorb, contain, retain those thoughts, because your brain sucks. It's not going to remember any of this. So even if you're nervous about going to an open mic and you just want to write down funny thoughts, write it down. Don't lose track of it. If it's funny, then you want to hold on to it because you may tell it at an open mic later. Who knows?
Yeah. Write early and often. Find a way to record what you're doing, whether it be video, audio, writing, actual writing or typing out. Very good tip. What was I about to say?
Should have wrote it down.
Yeah, I was about to go into something. I completely forgot. So last thing real quick, because I got to get out of here. Last thing, something you wish that you learned earlier in your stand-up career. What's something that you wished you learned earlier in your stand-up career?
Something that I wish. We went over a lot of points.
Yeah.
Let's see. Try and think. Something I wish I was told earlier. I do like the silence that we talk about to slow things down. I wish that was told to me earlier, in my career. Because early on, one of the worst things I did was to rush through my comedy. I was trying to get as many jokes out there within the time I had, and not even letting the audience laugh and just kind of cutting myself off from the moment.
Yeah.
And that's don't interrupt the laugh with a joke. Like, great. Like, if they're laughing for too long, that's still not a bad thing. They're enjoying it.
Let
them give them the moment,
Let every laugh rock.
Even afterwards, just make a joke like, I didn't plan on y'all laughing that long, dude.
Yeah, that's something I used to do early too, is like cut off laughs. I'd be like, I got another part that goes here. You're messing up my timing. Like, no, they're not, bro. Let them laugh. And then let them laugh, give them a second, give them a beat, and then do your tag. Yeah. It'll be way better than the timing that you wrote it. Like, trust me, I know this from experience of like doing a joke exactly how I wrote it versus letting each point hit the audience, giving them a moment to collect themselves, and then smacking them again. Mm-hmm. It works way better, dude. Yeah, that's a good one. Take your time, slow down. It doesn't mean necessarily like you have to take 15 minutes to tell a story.
No.
But it does mean just like relax. All of your jokes are not going to be hilarious, so you don't need to get through all of these 15 jokes that you wrote for this 5-minute set. Just get the audience's honest opinion of the 5 minutes of material that you can get through.
And that's via laughter. So.
Yeah. If they're laughing, let them laugh. If they're not, work on it. Something I wish people told me earlier, something I wish that I learned earlier, not necessarily anybody had to tell me this, but I wish that I had developed better writing habits early. Writing is going to be, and when I say writing, it doesn't necessarily have to be you sitting down with a pen and paper or you sitting down at the laptop. You jotting something in your phone, that's writing. Doing either of those is writing. And also you can like do audio recording, or even mulling over things in your head, I think counts as writing, as long as you can retain what it is. I don't have that type of retention, so I have to write it down, record it, or like audio record it to remember it. But I wish I had gotten to the habit earlier in stand-up of, let me keep writing. Let me make sure I'm always mulling over, is this funny? Is this funny? Is this funny? Because the more you write, the better you'll get at being funny. So not me now trying to develop good writing habits 4 years into stand-up. I'm just now getting to the point where like I like the amount that I can write. Like I can jot down a few things throughout the week, and I'm like, okay, that's a good amount of stuff that I put together. I got a good little chunk I got here. But had I realized earlier how important writing was going to be, I would have picked it up sooner. I would have made sure early on that I was like always going over what's funny in my head, or always writing down jokes, or always putting down, because what you're going to find too is that some of the stuff that you write early, most of it's going to be trash, but there's going to be some stuff that you write early that you're going to put down, and then you're going to come back to later, and it's going to be like, oh, I have a completely different angle that I can take this freaking bit. Like, I wasn't even thinking of this when I wrote it down. Now I can go sideways. Yeah. Because you're funnier. As you get funnier down the line, you're going to think back on some of the things you wrote, and you're going to be like, oh, man, wow, I got a whole different thing I can do on that bit. So that's a good one. Develop good writing habits early. If this is going to be something that you get into, this is going to be something that you're going to want to try, even as a hobby multiple times, develop writing jokes pretty early.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's kind of the foundation of doing comedy, honestly.
All right, I got to get out of here. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out? Thank you so much for joining us as the first guest on the Lucky Prophet Comedy Pod.
This is great. I can't wait for this to be out. I mean, this was dope to kind of put all our experience out there, and I hope we get to do it more. I guess any plugins and shout outs, May 26th, we got the Ben's Hookah Lounge show. Buddy's going to be... Actually, Buddy's going to be doing another special kind of thing. He's gonna be,
what am I doing, 30 minutes?
No, we're doing 45 to an hour.
I'll do 45
to an hour. I
did 58 at the last one. I'm working on my first special. I'm working on putting together all of the material. Not all of the material, because some of it's trash. But I'm working on putting together all of my best material up to this point and working it into an hour special.
I still need to do that.
This show that we're doing on the 26th at Ben's Hookah Lounge is going to be another like practice run of me for my draft of what that special is so far. I did the first one at Prohibition. Shout out Prohibition in Fort Smith. And I did 58 minutes. We packed out the house. It was a great time. Buddy Edrick hosted. He's hosting this one as well. I'm putting that together. Pretty excited for it. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that show. Did you already do the redone flyer?
No. Kyle's going to be on there. Kyle Gilbert. Our buddy Kyle Gilbert.
Kyle Gilbert's going to be
on
that. Love
that guy. He looks a lot like Blake Lensing, but he also has the same name. But that's because I haven't fixed the flyer yet. Shout out to Blake Lensing because he's going to be...
flyer. I was like, he does not look like Blake. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming out. I got a few things coming up, man. Follow me on everything. At Lucky Prophet ENT on everything. I'm going to put some pop-ups somewhere around here. Point in some areas. See what happens. Boop, 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 boop. There, right there. There's another one. That one. Follow me on all these things. And check out all the shows we got coming up. And subscribe, follow, whatever. Stay tuned for new episodes because we're going to keep them coming. Peace. We're done.
Goodbye. Wait, no, and then I love you.